One of these PSA slabs is fake, and one of these PSA slabs is real. The problem is you're gonna have a very difficult time telling which one is the fake one. And we just found out that a dealer at a recent card show spent $28,000 buying fake PSA slabs. This is a growing problem that you need to be aware of, and we'll give you the details next. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. Teapot, you're looking, oh, look at you. You decided to rep your Lions today.
Yeah, feeling good.
Well,
I did not expect Monday to win, and we did it. So
you should feel good. And Lechner, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know Lechner, he's a breaker. He's regularly on Cards HQ Breaks, does a little bit of Cards HQ Shop for us as well on Whatnot. So great personality. You'll get to meet him today. But I hate for this to be your first show, Lechner, because we got to talk about something right off the bat here. This is a serious topic. We're jumping in with a real problem to talk about and to tell the audience about today. So this past Sunday on the Sports Card Investor video I put out from the Culture Collision show here in Atlanta, that video got a lot of attention because in that video, the dealer who was set up next to me at the Culture Collision card show in Atlanta had on his table fake PSA Pokemon slabs. Specifically, they were Poncho Pikachus, several of them on his table. They were all fake. Fake PSA 10s in fake PSA slabs. The label looked real, and it would actually call up real, legitimate PSA 10s of that exact card. But it was actually a fake label, and it was actually a fake card inside the PSA slab. I included it in the video. There were a lot of angry comments, rightfully so. People said this dealer should have been thrown out of the card show. He should never have been allowed to do this. Some people went as far as saying he should have been arrested for selling those fake cards. Now, in fairness to the dealer, he had them labeled as proxy.
Yeah.
That was the word that he used,
Yeah.
proxy.
yeah, there's substitute cards in TCGs that you can play with sometimes.
So he had them labeled as proxy cards. He also had them priced very inexpensively. I think they were like $70, where the real ones would have been like $7,000. So it was obvious that they were fake from that standpoint. The dealer wasn't trying to misrepresent that they were real. But the problem was whoever bought them may then attempt to do something nefarious with them because they looked real. They looked pretty good, especially to somebody who wasn't super well trained and versed. I could tell they were fake, but a newer collector or a kid probably would have fallen for them. So we put this video out. A lot of people are upset. Then we get contacted by a card show organizer who says those exact type of fake Poncho Pikachu cards, the exact type that this dealer was selling, that a dealer at one of his card shows just real recently bought $28,000 worth of those cards in PSA slabs that were all fake. Fake cards, fake PSA slabs. The dealer shelled out $28,000 not realizing he was buying fake PSA slabs and fake cards. So this thing is affecting people who even kind of know what they're doing. It gets worse. It gets a lot worse because I went and had a conversation with my buying team at Cards HQ, and I've learned about some of the things that have been happening that even go beyond that. We're gonna talk about that. I do want to show the audience though first these two slabs, and we're gonna bring them up here on the screen. See if the audience can pick out which one of these is fake. They both look really good. They both look really good. The one that's fake, and people probably guessed it by the value of the card, but the one that's fake is this 1986 Fleer, I should say, Michael Jordan, the PSA 9. Now, this is a real card.
Yeah.
It's a real card, but it's like a PSA 6 or a PSA 7 Jordan. It's not a fake card, but somebody took a lower grade Jordan and put it in a fake slab that sure looks like a real PSA slab, and printed a fake PSA label that sure looks like a real PSA label. It looks really close. How can you tell? Well, it's hard to tell. But one tip the buying team gave me is that if you squeeze the card and you twist it a little bit,
You'll hear it.
you'll actually you get a little
That's
corner of
actually-
it open.
there's-
You
wow.
get a
A
little
little
corner of
seam
it open,
opening.
little
wow.
seam open, because this was glued together.
It wasn't sonic welded.
Whereas this was sonic welded. You twist it, nothing happens, nothing pops, etc.
No.
So that's one way you can tell that, right? So you can tell there. But, and by the way, we've done this a bunch of times. That's why it normally doesn't quite open that good, but they use glue to seal it. But the problem is that the label, unless you're gonna like twist the card, you're probably gonna get tricked by this label. Now you can use black light on the back of the card, but now some of the fake labels, we've seen some in Cards HQ where they've even now put the PSA in black light in UV on the back. So now even the black light thing doesn't work for testing anymore. My buying team at Cards HQ said that the only thing other than twisting the slab, the only thing that they've seen that is still a little bit of a giveaway is if you look at the PSA on the back and you refract it in the light, it changes color from a darker silver to a lighter silver, and there's a little repeating small PSA pattern in the back. And if you look at the two side by side, even the fake one now, they have it where it does change color, but it doesn't have the tiny repeating PSA on the back of it.
Yeah.
So, fake slabs. But I said it gets worse. Here's how it's getting worse. Here's what people are now doing. Now, people have started, and we've seen this happen 4 times recently at Cards HQ, where people have walked in with what is a real card with a real PSA label in a fake slab.
Yeah.
Now, how's that working?
Yeah.
Well, here's what they're doing. They're doing it right now. We've seen a lot of these. They'll buy a lower graded copy of a card, like a PSA 8 of, let's say, that Michael Jordan card. Then they'll buy a PSA 10 of the same card.
Yep.
They'll crack the case of the PSA 10.
Yep.
They'll take the real PSA 10 label. They'll crack the PSA 8. They'll take the PSA 8 card. They'll buy a fake slab that looks just like a PSA slab. They'll put the PSA 8 card in it. They'll put the PSA 10 label in it, and they'll seal the slab with glue. The problem with that is it's a real label. So now all the tests you're going to do, the black light, the looking at the lighthouse symbol, it's all real because it's a real label. But the card, and even in these cases, the card inside is real, but it's a lower graded card. It's like a PSA 8, but it's in a PSA 10 label. Then that PSA 10 that they cracked to get the label, they send it back off to PSA. PSA grades it again. They send it back as another 10, and they repeat the process. And this is starting to happen, apparently, with prevalence. We've encountered it here in our buying room now several times at Cards HQ. This is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. Teapot, what does this mean for the hobby? What can be done?
Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and that's what we see with theft and counterfeits and all of this type of stuff. Just when you think you've got the next thing, you've got your little black light to shine it at the register, now you got to deal with people faking that. People are going to be crafty. Anytime there's money involved, they're going to be super crafty and doing these things. And this reminds me of when Reeves was at the National a few years ago and had that guy trying to like scam a bunch of kids at a trade night in a hotel. And Reeves was smart enough to be like, Dad, I think this guy's trying to like rip me off, right? But that's the exact scenario you have to worry about with people taking things like these. Kids are a prime target. And if it were me, like, I would really be warning my kids if I'm planning on cutting them loose at a show with their friends, they're young teens or whatever, like the most important thing I think we can keep doing is education, is like keep telling people, beware of this, don't be gullible. If it's too good to be true, it probably is true. And a lot of those people are probably going to come up and have these fake cards, find targets that they think, they don't look like the sharpest, most experienced collector, and then give you a deal. Make it too good of a deal to pass up on because they're just trying to get the cash and move on. So it's really, really dangerous. The piece with proxy cards is that's pretty common across different TCGs. And I'm not a TCG expert, but I do know in Magic and I think in Pokemon, you can buy proxies. I play Star Wars Unlimited. They have proxy cards you can buy online. They're not always allowed in like formal tournaments, but they might be allowed in weekly play formats. And so people don't want to pay $50 or $100 per card or more for these ones they need for a play set. So they buy the proxies. The issue I had with the one that you saw, the Poncho Pikachu, was that it had a label with a real cert number. There was a completely, it was literally, I was like, oh, maybe it's fake and they're just trying to make it look fake because he had it labeled proxy. So I typed the cert into PSA site. It was a cert number to a real copy of that
PSA
card.
10.
Yeah.
That, you can't do that.
No.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. And
it's just the perfect tool for scamming.
I don't know
like
if
this
that
dealer
guy
who got scammed out of $28,000.
Right. And so you had that dealer, and he obviously wasn't trying to pull one over because he had it labeled as proxy. But having the whole setup, I'm like wondering, did he make a mistake? How did he come into possession of those things?
Yeah.
Did he buy them from somebody else and then realize he was duped and he's just trying to recoup $70? Either way, you just can't do that. You can't do that. In fact, like if I were PSA, I don't know legally what you could do to say, like you can't fraudulently reproduce a PSA slab. That's literally fraud. Like you've got to be transparent about it. So I understand, I guess, why people would be calling for somebody that's selling those to be arrested just because it's fraud. Like even just the appearance of it with the sticker. I don't know that dealer seemed to like genuinely kind of just like, I don't know, like you were there. Did he seem like, oh, I'm caught red-handed, or more just like, well, I don't really think this is that big of a deal. I don't know, but overall, that's really concerning to me. And somebody would take those and then just go try to flip them at the show to somebody else.
The dealer felt like he was being very upfront about the fact they were proxies. He did have them labeled as proxies and priced at a low price, so he felt like he was being upfront. Look at this. We got a Gator fan, by the way, in the background right here.
Oh,
we got to go Gator chomper. I like this right here inside Cards HQ. But yeah, the problem is who he sells them to and then what they do with it. Like those were the exact cards that at another card show somebody bought for $28,000 thinking they were real. They were those exact types of Poncho Pikachus and the fake slabs, just like his. Yeah. So whoever he sold them to, maybe at a card show next weekend, trying to sell them to people at the card show for full price, or give them a deal, knock $1,000 off, and they think they're getting a deal and they're really buying fake cards. It's a real problem. I did not like the fact that dealer had them at all.
Yeah.
He probably should have been removed from the card show. I think the commenters were probably right about that. The card show organizers didn't seem interested in doing anything about it. So, yeah, I don't know. Lechner, what do you think about all this?
Well, and even like you said, even if he didn't have any, even if he wasn't trying to pull something over somebody, like you commented, somebody could have taken those cards and then tried to scam someone else on the other end and remove those, proxy stickers and things like that. My thing, I think grading companies have to figure out a way to make it more secure. Teapot commented, people have counterfeited everything for, forever, right? I mean, you look at people have counterfeited money for years, and what did we do? We made it harder. We put security devices inside of money to make it harder to counterfeit cash. I'd really like to see these grading companies kind of step up and make it. You got to make it harder to counterfeit because people are going to do it. There's too much money in the hobby. It's too easy to counterfeit these and to put fake labels or to put real labels on there. And so I don't know what that solution necessarily looks like, but I think the grading companies really have to take a look at their processes and say, what can we do to make this more secure and to make it really, really difficult to counterfeit these and to sell fake slabs.
Yeah, and I'm sure PSA's working on it. Like I imagine, I know PSA's aware.
They've done a
of
lot
this.
over the years.
Absolutely.
Sure, yeah.
PSA seems to be very progressive and very committed to trying to make their slabs more secure and fight these problems. But it's a cat and mouse game, and it's and to your point, Lechner, the only thing I could think of as a next step, and PSA probably has more brilliant solutions than I do, but I was thinking like RFID chips.
Yeah.
If they had a little RFID chip that's embedded inside the label, then that, and it gives some type of signal that it's authentic, it's going to be a lot harder for a counterfeiter to create a fake label if they also have to then fake an RFID chip that also then puts out some type of secure code or secure verification. But that still wouldn't stop somebody from taking a real label with a real FID code and a RFID code and cracking it out and associating it with a fake, card or a card of a lower grade in a fake slab. So then how do you fight that? Well, then I guess the slab itself has to have some type of, thing welded within the slab or something, so that they get the fake slabs, and maybe there's the RFID chip is welded within the actual plastic of the slab. Then I'm sure they're going to find a way to copy and fit that. But it is a little bit of a cat and mouse game.
The problem, though, as I just did on the Market Movers video showing that 113 million plus cards have been graded over time, is that we have 113 million slabs that aren't in a
That don't have that
secured future
protection.
thing.
Yeah.
They're in iterations over the years of different caliber of slabs, some of which older are much easier to get out. And then on top of it, I was thinking the same thing with like cards. The card manufacturers could also be looking at security measures that, the most notable cards get some kind of RFID or something that, ties it to blockchain or whatever. They're exploring those things. It doesn't help everything that already exists.
Yeah,
so education's just really, really important, paramount.
It's an important thing to continue to work on. My best advice for everybody out there watching is don't just see a PSA 10 at a dealer booth or someone coming up to you at a trade night and say, oh, that's a 10, and just assume it is. Take a little extra time, examine the slab closely, especially if it's a valuable card, right? Look at it under light, and then look at the card and make sure the card actually looks like a 10. If you're just buying the label and you're kind of glossing over the card, you might be setting yourself up for some problems. Okay, I want to switch the topic to something much more fun. Let's open up some Arena Club slab packs.
Yeah.
Let's get away from the craziness. Let's get away from that bad conversation. Teapot, you and I are going to open up one today. Which one did you get here?
Well, all this talk about Poncho Pikachu made me go for Pokemon this week.
We're going to do a Pokemon slab pack. Look at you. Okay, is this going to be the Pokemon Emerald? Let's call it up here.
Pokemon Emerald.
Let's see what you get.
Ooh, sick.
What is that?
It was a Salamence PSA 10. That's a cool looking card.
That is a nice looking card.
Big fan of Salamence. Dragon.
I have not seen that one before.
Yeah.
But that looks nice.
Salamence. Very strong in the game.
Pokemon's been unbelievably hot.
That's a cool card.
I imagine that's a nice one. Okay, I did a little baseball. Actually, the reason why I did, you got the playoffs around the corner, but the reason why I decided to do a baseball emerald is they've got a bunch of vintage cards mixed in. There was like several Mickey Mantles and Willie Mays, and I was like, ooh, I got a shot at a little vintage here. I'm going to do one of the emerald baseballs. Let's see what I get.
That is not a vintage.
Whoa. Okay.
That is not a vintage.
Hold on now. Hold on. It's kind of vintage.
I guess that's kind of vintage.
That's quasi-vintage.
That's vintage homage.
Okay.
Very cool.
That's a good card. That's a cool card.
That's a pretty cool card. That's the Ellie De La Cruz rookie anime.
That's a good card.
That's the throwback to the 1955 Bowman set.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's very cool.
All right. Well, it kind of qualifies as vintage. Kind of.
No Salamence, but.
All right, guys. If you want to save 20% off your first Arena Club slab pack, it makes them a really good deal. It's promo code SCI. All you got to do is download the Arena Club app or go to arenaclub.com. Use promo code SCI at checkout. You get 20% off your first order of anything on Arena Club. So go get one of those slab packs today with promo code SCI. All right, guys, we're going to jump into our next topic today. A lot to talk about. We talked about PSA. Let's talk about PSA taking over the world, because PSA just announced earlier this week that they are opening up their first full-scale office and grading operation in Europe. This is a big deal, in my opinion, not just for European collectors, but this actually affects all of us here in the United States as well. I want to talk about why. I want to get your opinions as to why. But this is going to open up next year in Frankfurt, Germany. They picked Frankfurt because it is kind of the center of the transportation hub in Europe. So a lot of, I guess, major transportation goes through Frankfurt. So they thought that that was going to make it very, convenient to be getting in submissions from all over Europe. They're going to be hiring over 100 people in all kinds of different jobs, as you can imagine. And they are going to be handling grading submissions from European people there within Europe. So it's not going to, collectors aren't going to have to ship to the United States as they do today. Teapot, what does this mean, not just for collectors in Europe, but what does this mean for collectors in the US as well?
Das ist sehr gut. Ich treffe Sie auf dem Bahnsteig.
Well, that's really good.
Bitte.
I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Verstehen Sie Deutsch? Du hast keine Ahnung. Okay.
He looks slightly German, doesn't he?
I am a little German. I'm a little German. German and Swedish.
I'm impressed.
Sounds like you won't be able to represent SCI if you don't speak German.
I don't even know what you just said.
You can send me. I got to update my passport, but I'll head out. I think this is great news, honestly. We've talked about how there's a growing demand in Europe and around the world for cards. People are getting into it more and more, and I think that having a grading company present in Europe so that people can actually take part in that more seamlessly than having to try to figure out how to get things safely over an ocean. I already get freaked out sending them in the mail within the United States or even dropping them off here for baseball cards to take them. So this is a big deal. I think people having that opportunity to get their cards authenticated and encapsulated and protected and obviously have the condition assessed is a really big part of the market. So being able to do that in Europe, really big deal. I think I imagine they're just going to keep looking to expand. So we see Fanatics trying to push and open more, have more of a presence over in Europe. And obviously PSA is doing the same. So I'm excited for those people over there because I know I've met a number of European collectors at the National and other places, and they've always said like it's difficult. It's really difficult being in Europe to be active in the hobby. So there's growth, and I think it's really great.
Lechner, do you think this will have any impact on us collectors here in the U.S.?
I hope it does. I kind of think about when I'm stuck in traffic, right, after work, and then maybe there's a lane that's shut down, but then it opens back up, right, and then traffic starts moving a little bit faster. I kind of hope that that's a similar impact with this. The European market's huge, and there's a lot of people that are grading cards from Europe, and having that location there that they can send their cards to, one, like saves them on cost, saves them on shipping, things like that. But hopefully that also frees up some space in the American market and frees up some bandwidth with the locations here, so those lead times can kind of bump down. We can get our cards back a little quicker too, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. A lot of people have been a little not so happy recently about some of the backlog at PSA and how long things are taking. So you're absolutely right. If this gets some of the orders off of their plate, then hopefully that brings the time back down for U.S. collectors. I'm curious to see the impact this might have on the continued growth of the hobby over there, which means what's this going to do to soccer card prices? What's this going to do to F1 card prices? I'm interested in watching those markets over the next 5 to 10 years as the hobby continues to grow over there, as PSA starts grading cards over there. You've got the Fanatics Collect store in London. What do we see with the growth of soccer? What do we see with the growth of F1? If you've got some really nice soccer F1, put it away in the safe, because I think that's going to be a good ride for you in the next 5 to 10 years. Be interesting to watch for sure. Okay, guys, we got 2 more stories to cover today. Before we jump in, Lechner, you're going to be live, Thursday through Sunday are the days you're normally live, right?
Sunday through Thursday.
Sunday through Thursday.
Sunday through Thursday, I'm live almost every day on Cards HQ Breaks.
You can find Lechner live tonight on Cards HQ Breaks if you want to get into group breaks. And by the way, also we have now a new channel, Cards HQ Hoops, where tonight we are breaking Topps Royalty Basketball. It's release day for Topps Royalty Basketball, a brand new high-end product. So check that out tonight on Cards HQ Hoops on Whatnot, and check Lechner out on Cards HQ Breaks. Okay, let's talk about Saquon Barkley's 2025 Donruss Downtown. This thing has been making some news recently because it's that image of Saquon jumping
backwards
over the Jags player. And they put this on a downtown card, which I think is super, super cool. Well, we saw our first high-end sale of it. A gold out of 10 of that particular card just sold for $10,000. That's a big number for a Saquon Barkley downtown, non-rookie, obviously. You know, what is it, 7th year now? $10,000. That is a big number. But we're seeing other downtowns ratcheting up in price. It's also worth noting that recently Saquon Barkley's 2021 Optic Gold downtown sold for $3,250, but the same card had sold for only around $1,500 back in February. So that one more than doubled in price over the course of the last 6 months. Of course, this follows a pattern with a lot of gold prisms and other kind of gold cards of note that they're all really moving up in the market right now. So Teapot, if you pull one of these Saquon Barkley downtowns, are you a buyer? Are you a holder? Or are you a seller?
No, ship it.
Okay.
Sell.
You're selling.
Okay. But his 2023 Absolute Kaboom green 1 of 1 sold in April for $10K.
Okay.
So the green 1 of 1 Kaboom sold for $10K. The thing is, this card shouldn't be that novel and exciting because it's now the 3rd time that Panini has used a variation of that image of the reverse hurdle over a defender on different cards. The first one was last year in Select. His field level was the reverse hurdle.
Okay.
So it already exists. And quite frankly, if you were to go get one of those golds, it's a much more attractive card than this year's downtowns, in my opinion, which I don't find the card to be particularly cool looking. I think it's kind of goofy looking. There's like a pretzel underneath him. I don't really know what's going on there. What's also alarming to me is the base downtowns started out selling out over $2,000. And then recently, I think a little over $1,000, somebody just bought his 1 of 1 Luminance from this year, which is also using the image, for $1,500 on eBay. And it sat out there for about 3 weeks before somebody scooped it, right after these downtowns came out and people started losing their minds over the image and the downtown. Like 1 of 1 Luminance, which looks more realistic, is a cool looking card, or a base downtown of which there's probably like 500 in circulation by the end of next year. So
Probably more, honestly.
there's a lot of them. So
they make a lot of the
I mean,
downtowns
if
now.
you're gonna buy one, buy the gold, but not for 10K. I think there's a whole bunch of other really cool Saquon cards out there that you could buy. So the one of one dual downtown of Hurts and Saquon Barkley from last year sold for $8,000.
Yeah, but he's not jumping over.
So yeah, it's true.
All right. What do you think, Lecter? Is Teapot right when you sell this card, or do you find more value in this particular Saquon downtown?
No, I would sell it. I'm gonna agree with Teapot here. I would sell it, and I mean I'll shout out Philly fans. They support. The Philly market is strong in general across football and baseball. They love their team. They love their players. So I think that's why you're seeing, especially a guy like Saquon, command this kind of market. Downtowns. They're awesome. Everybody loves them. I love them too. Like you said, there's a lot of them out there. I'm interested to see if this is sustainable long term.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, 10K.
Yeah.
I think you got to.
I noticed you didn't shout out their basketball and hockey teams in Philly. It's a different story.
Well, they got football. They're riding high at the moment. All right, guys, one more story tonight. We just had release day yesterday for the brand new Disney Topps Chrome Disney 2025 product here in the US. We've actually been breaking it here at Cards HQ. Lechner, you might be breaking it on Cards HQ breaks in the upcoming days. We'll see. But what was notable about this product is a little bit of a surprise that Topps let everyone know on release day that there was a crossover between Disney and Major League Baseball. So in this product, you have Disney characters in Major League Baseball uniforms. So you can find Mickey Mouse in a Dodgers uniform, for example, or you can find Daffy Duck in a Mets uniform, maybe. I don't know if that's the real combos, but there are...
Sounded good.
It sounded good. There are characters in unis from the teams, and Topps has dropped the news that in 2025 Topps Chrome Update Series Baseball, there will be more of that. So you're going to find these Disney characters in baseball uniforms, not just in Topps Chrome Disney, but also in Topps Chrome Update Baseball when that comes out shortly. Teapot, what do you think of this collaboration? Is this causing you to want to rush out and go buy some of these boxes, or is this just a little bit of marketing overhype?
No, I mean, Disney is a strong IP. It's got a lot of legacy. Obviously, these characters are near and dear to a great number of people, and they're just timeless. So it's kind of cool to see that crossover happening between the two. I love baseball. I think we've seen some of this. We saw the Charizard bat knob, go for a crazy amount of money inside of a card. Like, more of these crossovers, the better, honestly, I think overall. Seeing in the past, there was like a metal set that had football metal cards with Wolverine and with the Hulk and other things in the 90s. So Disney pairing up with Fanatics, obviously to do different collabs and things, I think it's just a really powerful strategy because most people do have multiple interests. We've made like social posts in the past, right, for Instagram where we, made it look like May the 4th be with you and made it look like these guys were holding lightsabers as, bats and stuff like that. So get really creative with it. I think it's cool that they're putting it into both products to kind of expose. Very smart, in my opinion. Like, oh man, I just hit a Donald Duck, inside of this baseball pack. That's pretty. Oh, I didn't know that Topps Chrome Disney existed. So it's a great way to increase exposure. Overall, it's a good idea.
Yeah. What do you think, Lecter? Are you in Teapot?
I think it's fun. No, I do think it's fun. It feels a little nostalgic. If you remember in the 90s, there was a lot of merchandise for sports teams with cartoon characters, shirts, and things like that. It kind of makes me think of that a little bit. So it's a little nostalgic. I think it's fun. Like you said, huge market with Disney. The real question is, in Topps Chrome Update, does Mickey Mouse have a debut patch? Can we get a Mickey Mouse debut patch card?
Patch. I like that idea, Lecter. I like that idea.
Not bad.
Mickey Mouse debut.
What
Can we get a little game
schemes.
worn?
Right?
Like a little game worn from we just go like the theme park and rip the jacket off of Mickey and start cutting it up and putting it into playing cards? I like this.
Yeah.
I like this idea. Okay. All right. I think you're onto something there, Lecter. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Let us know what you think of all of today's topics in the comments below. Don't forget to check out Lecter and Cards HQ breaks on Whatnot, as well as Cards HQ Hoops tonight for that Topps royalty break. And then Arena Club, those slab packs are 20% off with promo code SCI.
They're going to Oktoberfest.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon with the next one. Take care.